And I think we just need to look at the budget for the department as a whole. I mean, I think that Todd is, he's young and he's bright, he's coming in, but the resources that he has had to work with compared to the resources in the past, particularly when we were dealing with veteran service officers, for the most part were retired military folks who had and they worked either part-time or they just worked, for a real low wage because they had their military pensions and so forth. Those days are kind of gone, and I think we need to properly fund the department and put together, a proactive program that guarantees that we're not only providing services here in the local area, but in the outlying areas in a cohesive fashion. So I think this is something that's real important. We have a huge veterans population, and irrespective of the lack of services in the other counties, they kind of come in here because that's where the services are at for the most part. And I think we should be proud of that relationship we have. I think we have a great program going now that we've had in the past, and I'd like to see us bolster that up and support it. So Richard, maybe working with Melody, the health and social service staff, which this department is a part of, identify what resources we have available, what we could bring in terms of further augmentation, and maybe build upon the success that Todd has put here. I mean, $1 million worth of these retroactive payments going back to 2010, that's huge. And I think we should be pushing that even farther. So thank you for your work.
Thank you.
For your service.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. On your awards and you have here the college waiver fee.
Yes.
Now, does that apply only to Lassen College, or can somebody live here and commute to college elsewhere? And, how does that work?
We have veterans do. Let me explain a little bit on the college waiver. It's solely for disabled veterans who live in the state of California. So they have to have a disability, and it's for their dependents. And they can use that college fee waiver at Lassen College, but they could also use it at other universities, to include UC Davis, Chico State, any university in the state of California.
So the grant monies that you've been relying on to get the message out, what kind of figure is that average a year?
It's approximately 45,000 we had received from July 1st to date to January 1st, and that includes a special subvention fund, which the state had given out to the county veteran service offices. Now that's a one-time payment. It was a $16,000 payment, which we had wrapped up and included into our Veteran Peer Specialist program. That's not a guarantee fund. It was just a one-time deal. Now there is a bill, assembly bill, that's being proposed to make that payment, that $16,000 payment, permanent. It hasn't been passed, and it's still kind of in the air now.
Do you have the number of that bill? Can you get it for me?
Yeah, I can get that for you. I don't have it in front of me.
So, like, what are the totals again?
45,000.
Here we go.
From July to January 1st.
And we combined those funds. We had received $20,000, which is paid in $5,000 increments per quarter. Received $20,000 from Prop 63, and we received a total of $20,000 from county MHSA funds. And in addition to that, $15,000 the special one-time subvention fund.
And then
The total of all three of those funding sources was $45,771.
so so those totals you gave were the monies that you're dispersing, the 30% or so that you're locating. That was money that you're getting out. That's
Yes.
No. That's what we're using towards our program. Now the funding that we receive from California Department of Veterans Affairs and Veterans Affairs is paid by the federal government. That's what is paid in claims, disability claims that we put together for veterans. That is funding from the federal government. we're using the grant funds to put towards the outreach efforts to get those veterans to come in, sign up for the disability benefits, and then the federal government provides those benefits.
So like the total non-public assistance monthly, $28,491.
Those were new monthly benefits in that one quarter, from July 1st to December 31st. Those were new, added to the total on the first page there of
Todd, with the wind down in Afghanistan and stuff, do you foresee a marked increase in the veterans returning home?
most definitely, and I'm seeing it already.
Okay.
With
That's what the 28,000 is from, basically.
yes, with the withdrawal from Iraq and the drawdown in military forces, we're going to see more veterans coming into the communities who are going to be seeking benefits because the military is drawing down on troops. We don't need a large force because we don't have a war going on in Iraq, and we are drawing down in Afghanistan. So we're going to have more troops coming home seeking education benefits. Those troops with PTSD or TBI, they're going to be seeking benefits as well. And that's what our office does. We get them to come in, and with the Veteran Peer Specialist Program, we're working side by side with behavioral health and be able to provide counseling services, on top of their claims for disability benefits. So we can sit down and offer counseling to veterans with PTSD or TBI.
What's TBI?
TBI is traumatic brain injury, which is like a concussion or a significant blow to the head. A lot of veterans have experienced IEDs, so the percussion from IED causes brain injury.
You work with Melody's department with all this stuff.
Yes.
So you basically need to make sure that you got $45,000 of revenue that you're relying solely on the grant or it doesn't go away.
Now those figures, I just put that report together last week for Calvet, and what I included was half of the MHSA fund, which I'm still working with our budget analyst, so those figures aren't quite accurate. I'm still trying to figure the reporting metrics for California Department of Veterans Affairs. So there is still a little bit of adjustment that we need to make with those funds.
So can we add this item to our next budget committee meeting, and maybe you could try and attend that?
Okay, yeah, certainly.
Okay, thanks. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Eileen?
Eileen Spencer. When I watched that veterans clinic from breaking ground to opening, I was very much interested in that. And when it opened, never found out who, but they put great big giant boulders across the opening where fire truck or the buses would have access to come in to the facility in case of a fire or bringing veterans in there. I approached 2 supervisors to help me get the rocks moved. That was all. So we could get the buses in there and picking up veterans and be able to. Some of them don't drive, and it's very difficult even to ride the bus system. Got zero interest in those 2 supervisors. Those 2 supervisors no longer are on the board. But after we got help from the Susanville City Fire Chief, he moved the rocks in one day. So that's how easy it was when you have people that care. Then my husband and I started going to Plymouth County because getting it open was only part of the problem, getting vets there. The bus system wasn't made aware of that we need to get vets too, not only just from Susanville, but from outer areas. So my husband and I started going to the Plumas County Transportation meetings, and they had no problem with meeting our buses in Chester, or they already were in Hamilton Branch, to pick up veterans. And that was our specific goal, is getting veterans cross-county. And the problem was getting the buses, our buses, to Chester to pick up the veterans. The problem was in our county. So with persistence, we got not only the buses to pick up veterans in Plumas County and Chester, but now they were able to bring the vets right up to the door. The original plan was to drive down the side of the building, down that empty road, and let them find their own way back to the front of the building. So that wasn't good enough, so we wanted them dropped off right at the front of the building. It took some more effort than I thought it was going to take. I have a brother who is a Vietnam vet, and he's disabled. He absolutely depends on the veterans clinics. Sometimes he takes the bus, sometimes family takes him, but this was important to follow through on. So we can't minimize our vets that are here. We can't minimize the vets that are coming home. They're going to expect, maybe not expect, but I expect us to support them in any way we can. And that's all. That's my story.
Thank you. Anyone else under public? Okay, thanks. Let's quickly take up unagendized board reports. Let's start off with Supervisor Hammond.
Oh, I have nothing today.
I would like $500 in the discretionary fund to go to the Route 4 restoration project.
Yeah, I'd like to, should I go back? I'd like to put $250 in my discretionary fund to that also.
Supervisor Chapman.
A couple of things. First of all, I think we have a poster in front of you. The junior fishing derby is coming up this coming Saturday, and want to invite the board if they're around. It starts at 5 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning for some of us. It goes until 3 in the afternoon. The derby closes, and by the time it's all cleaned up, and we're out of there probably 4:30, so it's like a 12-hour day. We expect 500 to 700 kids. It's the day before Easter. Usually we wind up having more kids that weekend than normal years, so it should be. And the weather is going to be fabulous. So, we've got people coming up from Reading, people coming up from Chico. We'll be also taking advantage of this. And so anyway, just want to thank them all for their ongoing support. The county is a co-sponsor of the city with the Lassen Sportsman's Club. And also, I'd like to make an allocation. I'd like to allocate $1,000 out of my discretionary account for the Blue Star banners for that program. And then the balance of what's in my account, I believe it's around $750. I'd like to also allocate for restoration. And I want to thank Mr. Jonas for spearheading that. 150th anniversary. The report is actually 160 years old and is in need of some needed attention. I know that Tony's being proactive. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Jim, do you have a couple more of these flyers we can take and take with you?
I got it. I was going to ask to see if you were going to do that. Yeah. You get kids to come down to Big Valley every year too. Brian's actually brought new voice.
I might. Let's see what's more. The other thing, AAU tournament they have down here in Susanville this weekend, and I want to thank the Schaefers who were here that I sat next to their boy and ran the clock for many, many games. There was a lot of community members that stepped up for all the little kids, and anyway, I just want to thank them for that, and thank the Lassen College as well, except for new players. The other thing I'd like to bring up a little bit, I don't know exactly how to do it, it's going to probably raise some ire amongst people, but that's fine. About a year and a half ago, we sat here and as a planning commissioner for many meetings and spend a lot of hours on a business that, on revoking their use permit because they weren't doing things right. They come before the Board of Supervisors, was wordsmith many things on the recycling of cars. I mean, Bullseye admitted that they were recycling cars and they knew they weren't supposed to do it. And so the planning commission voted to revoke their use permit unanimously. The Board of Supervisors overruled that and, basically handed the planning department's derriere, handed it back to them on a silver platter and said, thank you, but no thank you. Kind of did the same to the planning commission. I wrote a letter, and I was kind of looked down upon, didn't go off on a very good foot before I was board supervisor. It was given back to them, basically redone the way it was, but there was supposed to be no cars, no recycling cars. The other day on the radio, they actually took out a radio ad advertising to bring in your vehicles to be recycled. I mean, what are we doing here, guys? And so I just wanted to let you guys know about it. I understand why they're not going to bring it up because they don't want to be manhandled and slapped around again. I'm not going to bring it up. I just wanted you guys to know about it. If you guys decide to bring it up, so be it. But I'll champion behind you, but I'm not going to be the one that brings it to the forefront. So I just want to let you guys know. That's in my sad.
I appreciate that, and I must say I heard the same ad, and I had the same concerns. But as you stated, the board of supervisors didn't agree, and it was. I took a lot of time in reading that whole planning report, and there was some what I consider, untruths contained in there, like they're being accused of being auto dismantlers, for instance, and there was letters in there from the state DMV where they came and inspected and said that they weren't dismantlers. So it was a really everything didn't jive. So we did give them the benefit of the doubt and overturned it, and it was a little tense, and I'm glad there was no hard feelings. But what you said, you bring up a valid point. I did hear the same radio ad, and I wondered myself. So hopefully they're abiding to the permit. That they were given an opportunity to carry on. That's all I could say. And if there's any evidence to the contrary, obviously it's a matter we need to look into. But thank you for bringing that up.
I'm just bringing it up. I mean, if they're advertising for it, so you guys' decision. Thank you.
Alrighty. I'd like to designate $250 from my discretionary funds to the roof for restoration project. Okay. So, all right. Let's move on to item D2, Lassen County Fish and Game Commission.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Supervisors, Don Armentrout, Lassen County Fish and Game Commission Chairman. What you have before you is a resolution to increase junior tags. We have the hunter education classes are cranking out kids. In fact, 44 were graduated just last Saturday here, and then they can't get tags. And you do that to them for about 3 or 4 years, and they're not going to hunt. And California is losing hunters because of the lack of tags. They're not stopping hunting, they're just going to other states. This has a tremendous impact on the California's ability to get Pittman-Robinson money, because the Pittman-Robinson money is based on hunters, number of hunters. I'll give you some figures. Last year, California issued 209,440 tags. Of those, 565 were set aside as junior or apprentice hunts. If this resolution is passed today, and if the Fish and Wildlife Department, can follows what the resolution said, and we take out the 565 apprentice tag, there would be 20,887 tags available only to junior hunters. That's quite an increase. Right now, junior hunters can apply for any tag as part of a party because they have to be with an adult. But when you start applying as a party around here for some of the better places, you don't get the tag, you get a point. So what this resolution would do is increase the number tremendously of tags available only for juniors and let them get the tags, let their parents hunt with them, and get the experience to decide if they want to continue or not.
Thank you.
Yes. Any questions?
So the junior, for definition for everybody, is that 16 or 18 years?
16.
16 years old.
I think it's a great idea. Thank you for the work.
Okay. We would like the board to adopt that.
I'm sure you would, and I'm quite sure we will. Before we take action, is there any public comment on the matter? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item D3, Probation Department, the monthly progress report on juvenile hall.
Good morning. I'm Jessica Valdinos. I'm the fiscal officer for probation in juvenile hall. Filling in for Jennifer since she's on vacation. We did get to talk to environmental alternatives, and they agreed to move forward with a new leased amount of $2,500 per month, as well as 25% of all utilities. So this will help bring in an additional at least $21,000 give or take on utilities. Jennifer also extended out invitations for the surrounding counties that I believe most of the chiefs will be attending the Quad County meeting on the 29th. And we did get a volunteer who will be starting the 28th from Long Valley Charter School to help us assist with the supervision fees. So hopefully we'll get something together in the next few months for that. Fees.
Any questions?
Why was the option to renew the clause removed?
We changed it to, it used to be like a 3-year, multi-year contract, and we just changed it to a 1 year.
For our convenience.
Okay.
So,
Well, I think the issue comes down to is do we want to subsidize, this private enterprise, or do we want to utilize the facilities for needs that we have? And so I think we need to preserve those options. So it makes me happy to see that they're paying a bigger share compared to what they started out with, and also that we have the option to, if we decide to convert it back to public use for needs that are greater. That they can utilize, facility-wise. There's a number of most of these group homes operate in like private residences that have been acquired by the group home companies, and so this took them out of the housing market, and we've got a lot of housing in the area. So I think this is a step in the right direction.
so this is the one where it's referred to as an 80%. They increased 40%, and then it talked about that. But, so they used to pay $1,250 per month, including utilities.
Yeah, the utilities was 80% based on the average of the last, or the 2 years. So it kind of averaged out to where they pay some utilities here and there, and the rest of the time it's real minimal.
So they're paying 25% of the utilities now. Was that because of this bill was shared by other towns?
No, the meter also serves as juvenile hall. There's only one meter currently. And that's why.
But they used to pay nothing.
Nothing, right? It was included in the rent.
You know, they started out paying rent $100 a month. So, this is quite progress.
So what?
We spent $100,000 renovating the space so they could have it to rent in the first place.
For $100 a month.
Yeah. That's why some of us voted no. And have been tweaked about this whole thing anyway.
So what kind of number does the 25% of the utilities represent approximately?
We calculated that, and I don't have it on the tip of my tongue.
I think it's between, what, 600 and 900?
Right, I think it is.
The 25%.
25%, yeah. The total is 2,500 to 3,000.
Yeah.
Is that a month?
Right.
So that extra revenues, roughly $25,000 a year. Does that go to offset then that $1 million hole?
Yeah, that's direct revenue coming back into that budget. Yes. $1 million will make it $1.5 million.
Closing the gap.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Any questions of the public about the report? Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Let's go ahead and we'll take our 10:25 recess, a few minutes.